Warm greetings, everyone. I'm Dr. Tony Feaster, and this will be a exercise to the breath practice. We will be lying down, but if that is not your preferred choice of positioning, I will also offer alternatives that can be done in the chair or standing. Remember that these are not commands, they're just offerings, and that you need to adapt, adjust, throw out, use as fits for your body. And make sure before you do any exercise at all that you check with your medical team to see what's appropriate for you, and always listen to your body. So, one of the first things I want to talk about are props that you might need today. And you can do these exercises without anything, but there's also a few things that you might have around the house that could work. So, one thing is a bolster or pillow that's sturdy, but what else you can use for that is a blanket or a beach towel, and you can fold it up. A strap, and if you don't have a yoga or stretching strap, that's okay. You could use a scarf. You could use a long sleeve t-shirt or a belt without a buckle. And if you happen to have yoga blocks, these work good. We'll use them for just a couple of things, but something else that might work is a very light and small pillow. Or you can use books also under your feet and for different positions. But today, for what we're going to do, just a light pillow could work in its place. Make sure you have a safe area around you and that it's not slippery. So yoga mats work really well because they stop us from slipping or make it less likely that we will slip. But if you're going to be doing things standing, have a safe area around you, maybe a wall to hold on to for balance or a counter. And if you have a chair and you're going to be sitting, have a chair without any arms preferably, and one definitely without wheels. All right, so I'm going to start. And before I go down to the mat, I want to talk about some positioning of our hips. So if you are standing to start, let's start with a mountain pose or Tadasana. And you can do this sitting in a chair also, with just your hips and knees will be bent, and that's fine. So wherever you are for your mountain pose or Tadasana, you can have your feet together, or feet can be hips width apart, which helps with balance. Possibly lift up your toes, see if you can spread them out a little bit and bring them down to the earth. You might feel an arch through your feet, a lift through your arches. And then activate the leg muscles here, your quadriceps in the front, your hip muscles, activate them and bend your knees. So your legs are feeling really strong. And then you want to do a tailbone tilt. So kind of tuck your tailbone under and pull your belly in. And this can be done in the chair. And we're going to use a tailbone tilt in a couple of our exercises that we'll do. And so knowing how to do this can really help with stretches, with safe body positioning. So standing or sitting, tilt your pelvis and pull your belly in. So you feel stronger and sturdier and more stable. So if somebody came and they nudged you, you wouldn't lose your balance so much because you're strong like a California oak tree. And then growing your spine through the crown of your head, extend your body, making it as long as you can. Lift your shoulders up and then exhale, bring them back. Palms could be on your lap if you're sitting, or by your side, or even facing your thighs, and chins back. And this is a nice strong pose, and you can use a lot of this positioning if you're in line or you want to take a break away from the computer or off the couch and stand up for a while and practicing your nice strong mountain pose. Okay, but remember that tailbone tilt or tuck and the belly in. All right, and then if you're going to be using a chair, you can sit or you can come to the ground like I am. And we're going to start on our back. And just keep, if any of your props, you can have them next to you for when you need them. And we're going to start with a bridge today. All right, so if you find that you're staying in your chair or standing and you're not comfortable lying on your back, right, because you're listening to your body and what's better for it. So what you can do is if you have a chair without any arms, you can turn sideways. As long as this is safe, you want to make sure your chair is steady and that you're steady in it. Your feet are flat. And so you can put books underneath your feet or blocks If you need to bring up those knees, you want your knees about at the same level as your hips. And then you can cross your arms on your chest, and you can go back slightly. And notice as I go back, my cervical spine, my neck is staying in alignment with my back, and I'm moving here from the hip joint. So I go back, I engage those abdominal muscles, and then I come back up to straight. Okay, so it's a small movement, but engaging the abdominal muscles and back up. So on this one, you inhale back and you exhale up. Inhale back slightly, not too far, and exhale up. So stay in really good control and do small movements. And then a little alternative on this could be to do crossovers. So hands still on the chest, you can go back and then come up and do a little twist with it. So go straight back and then come up with a little bit of a twist. Notice my cervical spine, my neck is staying more in alignment with my back. Okay, so there's a couple of alternatives just to engage the abdominal muscles. And so when we're doing the floor exercise, you can switch out with these two exercises. So on your back, your head's relaxed, jaw's relaxed, knees are bent, and your heels are close into your caboose. Now, if you have a block or pillow that you want to use, this is one of the times when you could use it. You want your feet, knees, and hips all in alignment. So when you push up to a bridge, your knees don't go out and they don't go in. They stay in alignment in between your ankles and your hips. Something that can help with getting that right positioning and feeling is you can put a block in between your knees, okay? And then your head's down on the mat. Your arms are either by your side or you can bring them over your head for the bridges. And we do a bridge, we're going to inhale and lift our hips up as high as they can be and then slowly lower. So today we're going to do 2 sets of 10 for the bridges. Ready? We're going to breathe in and push our hips up and exhale down, just grazing the hips on the ground. Up for 2. Inhale up, exhale down. 3, 4, push those hips up as high as you can. 5, 6, using some core muscles here to push up. 7, 8, 9, and on number 10, we're going to hold it up there. So if you can, hold it up for 10 seconds and breathe. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And slowly lower 1 vertebra at a time from your upper back down to your hips. And then if you are using a block or pillow, go ahead and remove it. And we're going to do the same thing one more time. So this is working core. It's working some glutes, some of your core muscles throughout your body. And then if you had your arms by your side and you want to try the second set with your arms up, you can do that. And here we go. Make sure your heels are close to your caboose and work on keeping those knees in good alignment. Don't let them flop out or flop in when you come up. Ready? Here we go. Take a breath in. Lift your hips up. Push them up as high as you can. 1, just graze the ground with your hips. 2, 3, really push those hips up. Maybe hold them for a half second. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and last one, number 10. Hold it up if you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And lower down 1 vertebra at a time until your hips rest on the ground. All right, instead of doing a bridge on the ground, here's a way to work the gluteus maximus while standing. The bridge uses a lot of different muscles, but we can work on the glutes while we're standing up, the caboose back there. So have something to hold on to just for balance, okay? And then you're standing nice and tall, knees are bent, and standing on one leg. Take your other leg slightly off the ground, and you're going to raise it up just a few inches just to engage the gluteus maximus back here, and then bring it down. So just engage and down. You can inhale back and exhale while it's down. And just remember just to breathe and not hold your breath. So it's a small movement. Okay? And then you can do maybe 10 of those on one side and then switch and do 10 on the other. Okay, and now, just to kind of counterbalance that, we're going to go into a tuck. You can do in the chair, you could do a one-leg tuck, one leg at a time. On the ground, you can do one, or you can bring both legs up and hug them. You can bring your hands around and hug them in, or you can hug around. Just try to not put pressure on your knees. Maybe you kind of play with bringing your head up, or you leave your head down and you rock left to right, which can feel pretty good on the vertebra, a kind of massage for the spine. Or you could rock head to tail. Good, and then come back to center, bring your feet down. Then we're gonna work on the abdominals a little bit. And we'll do one set of 15 with a regular crunch. When you do your regular crunch, knees are bent to help protect your back. And you want to not arch your back. So if your back is arched right now, and you can put your hands behind your back and your back is arched, you want to try to tilt the tailbone and bring the belly in to lower the back closer to the ground. Okay, as we talked about earlier when we were standing, we did that tailbone tilt or tuck. You want to do that here. And you can put your hands on your chest. You could cross them in front. You can put them to the side of your head, but don't cross them behind your neck because we don't want you to pull in your neck. Or you could cross them behind your head to give your neck some support. Whichever you choose, keep your eyes on the ceiling. Find something in the ceiling right above you or in the sky to look at. And as you come up, keep your eyes on that same spot. All right, so we're just going to do a set of 10 regular crunches. So bring your hands to wherever you want them. Pull your belly to your navel. Tuck your tailbone a little bit and take a breath in and exhale. Lift your shoulders off the ground and back down. 1, 2, exhale up and inhale down. 3, exhale up, inhale down. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then if you have a light pillow or a yoga block, okay, you can use that for this next exercise. And if this doesn't work for you for any reason, it's aggravating your back or hips or anything like that, you can alternate with something that feels better for you. But what I'm going to offer here is an abdominal exercise where you can use the block or a pillow, as long as it's light, because it might fall, so you don't want anything that's going to hurt your head. The starting position is with your knees and hips at 90 degrees, okay? And then your arms are going to start here where they're pointing fingertips up to the ground. You want to do that tailbone tuck here. You don't want to let your back arch during any time with this movement. So you want to do that tailbone tuck, which is going to be really important as your legs come back into this position. So you can put the block or pillow in between your legs and start here. So you're going to hold the block with your hands and then inhale as your arms go away. Exhale back, put the block back in, keep your hands here. You're going to inhale as your legs go away, trying to keep that back flat. Toes don't have to touch the ground, but they can. Exhale back. Inhale the arms away. Exhale the arms to the legs. Inhale the legs away, keeping that flat back down, and exhale back. So you can kind of play with this and experiment for a few times. Generally, you inhale when the body part moves away, and you exhale as it comes near your center. And maybe one more set. Okay, and then whenever you're done, you can set the block down. And then we're gonna stretch it out with the banana stretch. Okay, and then you find yourself nice and long on the ground, and we're gonna do a full body stretch here. So you're gonna move your left leg away from your midline and then cross over the ankle with your other leg. And then you're gonna grab your right wrist and pull it over. So we have kind of a C here on the ground, a little side body stretch. And just feel it and breathe. Your head's relaxed on the ground. And then release it, coming back to your center. And cross and bring the right leg away from your body. Cross over that ankle. And then pull the left wrist over. And if it doesn't feel good over your head, you can also cross over your chest. And then cross that way. So now we're doing a C to the other side. And just stretching, experimenting with what it feels like there and finding our breath. And then releasing and coming back to center. All right, now if you have your strap available or your scarf, go ahead and grab that. And we're going to start with the left leg, and we're going to just bring that left leg into the chest. The other leg is bent, foot is flat, our head's relaxed on the ground, and let's just circle the left ankle. And then go the other direction. And then if you have a strap or scarf, if you don't, you can do this without, but if you have one, you're going to put it right at the ball of your foot. Grab the strap or scarf or long sleeve t-shirt with both hands. Bring your top of your arms down to the ground so you're not straining. And you're going to take a breath in with your leg just slightly bent and exhale until you feel a nice stretch here in the back of the leg and the hamstring. And just hold it there and find your breath. Nothing too intense, just a little bit of tension there is what you're looking for. Head's relaxed on your mat, or you're sitting up tall in a chair, and feeling that hamstring stretch. And then, if this is your left leg in the air, you're going to put the strap in your left hand, and you're going to let that leg go away at 90 degrees, and you're going to have an inner thigh stretch here, keeping the other leg bent and rooted down. And hopefully you don't have to balance a cat on your belly when you're doing this. And your eyes stay on the ceiling. You can hold the strap with both hands, but most of the pressure is in your left hand. And just find your breath here. And a good rule of thumb to remember is holding your stretches about 30 seconds if you're doing a static stretch. And then help that leg come back using your strap. And we're going to straighten down the right leg, if that works for you. And we're going to use our strap now in both hands, and we're going to pull our left leg up towards our opposite shoulder. So we feel a stretch in the outer hip. And our head still relaxed, eyes can be on the ceiling. Not straining, just allowing the body to kind of open in these different joints, stretching out tendons and ligaments and muscles, and finding our breath, not holding our breath. And then use a strap to help the leg come back. Bend your right leg, and then we're going to switch sides. So you can release the strap, put both legs down, and then hug your right leg in towards your chest. Circle the ankle. And go the other direction. And then using the strap once again, you're going to put it at the ball of your foot. So not in the arch, not behind the toes, but right there at the ball of the foot. Bring your upper arms down on the ground. Left leg stays bent with the foot down. And then take a breath in and exhale into your hamstring stretch. So you're stretching that muscle on the back of your thigh. Find a place where there's a little tension, but you can still have a smile on your face, where you're not in pain or grimacing. If this bothers your back or it's too much, ease off it. Always listening to our body. And what I notice when I do this is that I hold tension in other places, like my other leg, so I can kind of let that tension go. So you can do a body scan and notice if you're holding tension where it just doesn't need to be, let it go with the next out breath. And taking your final breath in here and exhaling, and then putting the strap into your right hand, both the whole strap, and letting that leg go towards the right side. You might put a hand on the left leg, reminding this left leg to stay right here rooted down. And let the right leg go away this time. Your head's relaxed, your jaw's relaxed, eyes are on the ceiling, and letting that right leg open in the hip and the groin and the inner thigh. You can also put a bolster or block underneath your hip to offer it some support if this is uncomfortable. You could position yourself where your foot, the right foot, is on a wall. And then ease the leg back, help it come back up to center. Straighten the left leg down, and using both hands on the straps, bring your right leg towards your left shoulder. So it's crossing over the body. It's not going to touch the shoulder. It's just crossing up and over. So now you might feel a stretch on the outside of the hip. You might still feel it in the hamstring or other place. We're trying to open the hip a little bit. And finding your breath. And with your next exhalation, you can release it. And you can put your strap down. A great way to stretch the hamstrings from the chair is to move to the front half of the chair. Once again, you need a stable chair, and then you can use a strap or not use a strap, and straighten one leg out in front, just a micro bend in the knee, and the foot is flexed back with the toes going up to the sky. And you can put your hands on your lap or on the chair, and you bend forward from the hips. So you're not rounding your back, but keeping your back straight, your chest forward, and you're leaning forward until you feel, and I'm smiling because I feel that hamstring stretch right here. And so you just kind of hold that position there and then breathe into it. So without the strap, or with the strap, this is another way to stretch the hamstrings. And then as we bring the leg out to the side, you can go out to the side if you want. I'm going to scoot to the side of my chair because that feels better. And then I'm going to lean forward and kind of at a diagonal, and I can feel a little bit of that inner thigh stretch. And when we bring our leg across our body, you can also bring your leg across your body and pull the knee towards the opposite shoulder. Your knee's just going to be more bent here in the chair. Sitting up nice and tall with that spine straight. And there's some alternatives to what we're doing on the ground that you can do in the chair. And then you can do a happy baby. In the chair, you could do one leg at a time, where you're bringing your knee outside of your shoulder, okay? And on the ground, you can do both legs at a time. So you hold on to the outside of your foot, and knees are outside of the elbows, which are outside of the shoulders. And my feet are flexed back, so the flats of my feet are towards the sky. And then you can rock side to side, or you can stay right where you are. And once again, it's another hip opener. And take a final breath in here, and when you're done, just exhale the legs down. And then we're going to roll over, and you can roll over to your right side. And if it's available to you, straighten your right arm down on the ground and rest your head. make your body nice and long. And we're going to do a quadricep stretch here. So if you have a legging, you can pull that back. You could use your strap or scarf with a couple loose wraps around the foot or ankle. And you can also just use your hand to pull your leg back. If you're on the ground, try to relax your head on your arm so your neck's not straining. If your foot's outside of your body, try to tuck it back. And if you're bent at the hip, you want to extend your body nice and long. And here's where you can do that tuck of the tailbone again. So once you're in your stretch here, and if you're standing on a bent leg. And once you're here, try to tuck your tailbone and pull your belly in and see if you can feel the stretch a little bit deeper. And just finding your breath as you stretch out the quadricep, the nice strong muscle at the front of your thigh. And release. Here's a way to do a quadricep stretch while standing. So you can use a wall or some sturdy object to hold on to for balance. And then you're going to bring one leg back. The leg you're standing on should have a slight bend to it. You can use a pant leg, or you can use a strap around your foot lightly, or you can just use your hand on your ankle. So when you're here, bending that standing leg, and the bent leg is not to the side, but it's behind you. Your thighs are parallel to each other. And you don't want to be bent at the hip because you won't feel the stretch. You want to make your body nice and long. And you can do your tailbone tuck right here and pull your belly in. And you're probably going to feel the stretch a little bit more deeply. And then just breathe. Holding your stretches for about 30 seconds. And that's a standing quadricep stretch. And then we're going to do a side plank. These can be a little bit tough. We're going to do forward planks too, but since we're here on our side already, why not do a side plank? So for your side planks, one way to start is with bent knees, and you can go on your knee, and you bring your elbow underneath your shoulder, and your hand can be flat or it can be in a fist, and you lift your hip up. So that's one way to do it. Another way is to stack your feet one on top of another and push up and bring your hip up. Another way is to go with your feet one in front of the other, so you're heel to toe. You can also use the wall and put your feet at a wall. That can kind of help steady also. Okay? And you can do a standing one at the wall. Okay, here's an alternative for doing planks. Instead of doing planks on the ground, you can also do them on the back of a sturdy couch or counter or bench if you're outside, just as long as it's sturdy. You can also do them standing. So you can do a side plank where your feet are out maybe about 2 feet from the wall. Forearm is on the ground, palms can be down, or you can be in a fist position, trying to keep your body straight. And if your hip goes down, you're trying to bring it in alignment, and your head too, so your body's nice and straight, and always standing with a micro bend in your knees. So anytime you find yourself in a standing position, keep your knees slightly bent. And so here's a side plank. And then for the forward plank, forearms can be on the wall. Palms, you can have be in fists with your palms facing each other or hands out. And your legs are straight with a micro bend in your knees. I like to do this with my heels just slightly off the ground, but they can be down also. And you can do a plank right here is your forward plank. So there's 2 ways to do a plank while standing. Okay, so decide which plank is best for you, knees, feet, wall, and go ahead and push up into your plank. If you're on the ground, elbow, it's very important that it's right underneath the shoulder, and then push up. If your hips sag, try to get your hips up. Arm can be on your thigh, arm can be on the sky. If your head's falling down, like leaning down, bring it back up too, so your spine's in nice alignment, and find your breath here. I'm going to stay for a count of 15. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and if you need to take a break and rejoin, you can do that. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. The side planks are the hardest. I think the forward plank's a little easier, but these are good to work on. Okay, so there we finished our first side plank. Now we're going to go over to our other side. So switch sides. If you're standing, switch standing legs. And first we'll do the quadriceps stretch. Make your body nice and long. If you're standing, remember to have a bend in your knee. If you're on the ground and you can, stretch your arm up underneath you so you can rest your head and you're not straining your neck. And then pulling your top leg back. You want your thighs to stay parallel. Check that your foot's not out to the side but tucked behind you. Body's long so it's not bent at the hip because then you won't feel the stretch as well. Something you can do to find the stretch and feel it even better is to tuck your tailbone and pull your belly in. Aha, I feel it so much more right there. Maybe you do too with that tucked tailbone. And take a few breaths, just finding your breath here. And maybe another breath or two. And when you're ready, on your exhalation, just release it. And then we're going to do one more side plank. So remember, on your knees, feet stacked, or feet toe to heel. And so, ready? We're going to push up for whatever position's right for you. Check that your elbow is underneath your shoulder. Heads up so it's not leaning towards the ground. Heads up, arms down or in the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and lower yourself down. And now we're going to do a front plank. Same thing here. You have choices, so you can choose the right one that's best for you. You can do your planks on your knees or on your toes. And you want to be on your forearm, because if we're on our hands, that's a lot of pressure on those fingertips. So you can use your forearm with your fingers down, spread out, or you can have your hands in fists, maybe palms facing each other. Okay? And then there's also a wall plank. So you choose which plank is right for you. We're going to do one set of 20 of the forward plank. Here we go. So decide which plank is right for you and go ahead and ready in your position. Once you're there, tuck your tailbone and pull your belly in. If you're on the ground, eyes are down on the ground. If you're standing, looking at the wall. 1, 2, 3, 4, breathe, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and then lower or release it from the wall. And from here, we're going to do a slight back bend. And so on the ground, if you're here, you're going to zip your legs together and push your big toes down into the ground. Your arms are about shoulder width apart, elbows underneath the shoulders. Your fingers are spread wide. So you come down on the ground. And then your hands, it's like you're clawing the ground. And as you come up, you pull yourself forward and come here into this slight back bend. Eyes are down on the ground, maybe a foot and a half in front of you. And just find your breath here. And then you can lower down and release it. And then we're going to end with a sitting position. You can be sitting in a chair, you can be sitting on the ground, and you can windshield wiper your legs a little bit, going right to left. Once again, it's just a little hip opener. And last set. And then bringing your feet together. If you're like me, a little bit tighter in the hips, what you can do is bring those hips up a little bit off the ground. So I'm going to use a folded blanket. You could use a folded towel or a bolster, and maybe you don't need anything, but lifting the hips up a little bit helps me sit with a straighter back. And we can end here in a butterfly position. Feet can come together, knees out wide, and you can bend forward from the hips, putting your forearms on your inner thighs and pushing down and bending forward. You can also put bolsters or blocks underneath your legs if that feels better, and just leaning forward, letting those hips open one more time. And then release it by pushing back, sitting up, legs straight in front. And pull your feet back, sitting up tall. You can bring your hands so they are back to your side with fingertips back, palms down, and you can push forward a little bit for one more hamstring stretch. And just finding your breath in this position. And then pushing back. Take a breath in, perhaps lifting the arms up and leaning forward from the hips, bringing them out. And just let your body relax, let your feet relax, let your head hang. And just a relaxed position here. And just finding your breath. A couple more breaths. And then a breath in and come on up. Perhaps sitting crisscross. Thank you for joining me today. Know that the light in me sees, honors, and cherishes the light in all of you. Take care with your exercise. Listen to your body. Thank you.